Today, we're cracking open one of the biggest corporate mysteries of all time. It's the story of a global giant that, at the height of its power, decided to kill its most famous product. This is the story of New Coke. Seriously, just think about that for a second. It's the central question here. In 1985, the Coca-Cola Company did something that, on the surface, just seems completely insane. They took their #1 product, the most popular soft drink on the entire planet, and just got rid of it. Why? Was it panic? Was it arrogance? Or was it something else entirely? To really get the shock of this, you have to understand what Coke was back then. I mean, it wasn't just another thing you'd grab at the grocery store. No, it was woven into the very fabric of American life. It was a cultural symbol, recognized and loved all over the globe. And in the span of just a few months, Coca-Cola went from this revered icon to a national punchline. The company managed to turn a symbol of cultural pride into what felt like a deep personal betrayal to millions of people. So how on earth did it all go wrong so fast? Well, the first clue in solving this mystery lies with Coke's biggest rival. The real motive for this whole crazy decision can be summed up in just 2 words: Pepsi challenge. For most of its life, Coke just sat comfortably on its throne. But, things started to change in the late 70s and early 80s. Pepsi launched this relentless, super aggressive campaign that really began to chip away at Coke's dominance. Now, don't get me wrong, Coke was still the leader overall, but its market share was slowly but surely shrinking as Pepsi's kept climbing. For the executives down in Atlanta, you better believe this trend was absolutely terrifying. The Pepsi challenge? It was a masterstroke, really. Their ads were everywhere, constantly showing that in these blind taste tests, more people actually liked the sweeter taste of Pepsi. They brilliantly branded themselves as the future, the choice of a new generation, which of course made Coca-Cola look like your parents' old, tired drink. A real sense of panic was setting in at Coke headquarters. So Coke decided it had to fight back. They launched this top-secret initiative, codenamed Project Kansas. The mission? It was simple. Create a brand new Coke formula, one that was sweeter, smoother, and could finally beat Pepsi in those blind taste tests. This was going to be their secret weapon. So, with their secret weapon in development, Coke's scientists and marketers got to work, and they were absolutely convinced they were about to create the perfect soft drink. And believe me, they spared no expense. They poured $4 million into this thing, which was a huge amount of money back in 1985. They ran hundreds of thousands of taste tests all across the country. They were leaving absolutely nothing to chance. Or so they thought. And the results that came back, well, they were a dream come true. The data was crystal clear. In blind sip tests, this new formula didn't just beat Pepsi, it beat their own original Coke too. The numbers were undeniable. They had a winner on their hands. This confidence, it went all the way to the very top. At the massive press conference to announce the change, Coke's CEO got up there and called it the surest move the company's ever made. There was zero doubt in their minds. This was the right call. And right here, this was the fatal mistake. Fueled by all that perfect data and their own sky-high confidence, they didn't just launch New Coke as another option. Oh no, they made the monumental, unbelievable decision to completely stop making the original 99-year-old formula. The classic was dead. And with that single decision, the company unknowingly lit the fuse on one of the biggest, loudest consumer backlashes in modern history. The revolt was coming. As soon as New Coke hit the shelves, the reaction was immediate and it was brutal. People hated it. The #1 complaint was that it had lost that signature bite of classic Coke and that it just tasted like a sweeter, flatter version of Pepsi, the very drink it was designed to destroy. The public's anger was just overwhelming. Coke's headquarters was flooded with over 40,000 furious letters. This wasn't just a few unhappy customers. This was a nationwide tidal wave of pure outrage. And that's because, when you boiled it down, it wasn't really about the taste. People felt like Coca-Cola had taken something that belonged to them, a piece of their childhood, their culture, and it just tossed it in the garbage for marketing reasons. It felt personal. It felt like a betrayal. And the backlash, it took on all kinds of forms. The company's phone lines were getting jammed with 1,500 angry calls a day. People started hoarding cases of old Coke in their basements like it was gold. Protest groups popped up, lawsuits were filed, people held public ceremonies just to pour cans of new Coke into the gutter, and their ads were even getting booed at stadiums. It was total, absolute chaos. The whole thing just unraveled incredibly fast. From that super confident announcement in late April, it took less than 3 months for the company to completely give up. By June, even their own bottlers were practically in open revolt, demanding they bring back the original formula. The pressure was just unbearable.
So, after just 79 days, Coke surrendered. But this leads us to the biggest question of all. Was this whole thing a colossal, embarrassing mistake or a secret master plan? So here's where that $4 million research went so wrong. First, it turns out people liked the sweeter taste in a tiny little sip, but they didn't like it when drinking a whole can. Second, and this is the big one, the researchers never asked the most important question: how would you feel if we took away original Coke forever? And third, they saw Coke as just a product on a spreadsheet, completely missing the deep emotional bond people had with the brand. The failure was so spectacular, and the comeback was so successful, that this conspiracy theory popped up almost immediately. What if the whole thing was some kind of 4D chess move? A brilliant marketing plot to create this huge public outcry, only to relaunch the original to record sales and cement brand loyalty forever?
Well, the company has always denied it. As Coca-Cola's president Don Keough famously put it, "We're not that smart and we're not that dumb." Basically, they weren't smart enough to cook up a scheme that complicated, and they weren't dumb enough to willingly put their own company through that kind of public humiliation and financial risk. So, the final verdict is this: New Coke was, without a doubt, one of the biggest marketing blunders in history. But in this bizarre twist of fate, by forcing them to bring back Coca-Cola Classic, the failure ended up reminding the entire world just how much they truly loved the original. It was an accidental masterpiece, a triumph born from failure, that cemented Coke's place as an icon, leaving us with one last thought: can the greatest success sometimes be born from the most spectacular failure?